Meow. Morning, Darth. What's for the 3815? Don't think I've noticed that before. Ah. Good to see your name. Because I'm not really supposed to let on the secret that I can actually see you. You should be ashamed of yourself. Things good. I've been working so little lately because of the maintenance interval at work, and also because I took some time off last week. Hey, Yvonne, you're not a number? Yes, you are. You're number 3815. Hey, Lindex. Right now. Okay, I got to tip the screen up so I can see what people are writing here. You like the San Antonio vlogs? That's cool. Yeah, it was fun to. I'm really glad I did that, and went there and spent a few days because in the past when I've done like road trip vlogs, it's like I go there, maybe spend the night and then come back the next day. It was actually fun being there several several days and actually being able to kind of spend some time. Like I said, the first time, the first day or 2 days I was there, I didn't get in the car at all. I just went around and walked around and looked at everything. It was fun to go see the Alamo, for instance. That was awesome. Could be Lindex. I mean, it's kind of difficult to do a live stream when you're in the airport, right? Yeah, I was at the wedding. He did. He did get married in Vegas. I was there. It was beautiful. It was a beautiful ceremony. It took place at Eddie Fisher's house. Eddie Fisher is, I guess, Carrie Fisher's brother and daughter to or son to Debbie Reynolds. And I guess they bought the house with the point of like turning it into some sort of a retreat for Debbie. And ultimately, when she passed away, it was in the process of being transformed into kind of a museum. There's a lot of great stuff in there. No, I wasn't the best man. Michael Carlson was, but that's that was to be expected because Jordan was best man in Michael's wedding, and the truth is, I wasn't disappointed in that at all. Jordan's known Michael longer than he's known me, so No Elvis is at the wedding. There are two members of Kiss, though. How many people do you know have had a wedding where there were two members of Kiss in attendance? Holy cow! All of a sudden, I'm looking that everybody has a number here. What is that? Do I have a number too? I'm gonna type here, see if. Oops, I guess it helps if I select that, right? Nope, no numbers for me. You guys are just lucky, I guess. Yeah, I have a couple pictures here. Let me show you a couple things here. Let's see here. Yeah, let's go to that. Okay, so yeah, these are the pictures here. Let me open this up. So yeah, that's me at the wedding with the lovely bride and groom here. I really love I guess the Jordan when he sent out the invite said that that basically the dress code was going to be very informal. That they had kind of different costumes and stuff like that that were set up. I guess if you go back a couple years ago, I guess Jordan did a vlog where he interviewed the guy that made the costumes for or the outfits that Jimi Hendrix wore. Well, he pulled this guy out of retirement, and this guy made costumes. Made the outfits that Jordan and his brother were wearing, and so Jordan got his own nudie suit. Michael Carlson had one too. But yeah, the Jordan just basically said, yeah, if you want to, just I don't know, are you guys even seeing this? I don't know. Maybe not. Let me try this again here. Hold on, I got to bounce back. Let's see, I got to do this right here. I got to select the right window to do, and I guess apparently what I was doing didn't work. Let's see. Oh, that's what I did. Okay. Sorry. Let's try this again. There we go. All of a sudden, I realized there's a little window that pops up in the middle of the screen that allows me to stop sharing and bounce back to the thing. And I wasn't seeing that. So anyway, to continue on, yeah, that's my picture with the bride and groom at the wedding. It was a real beautiful ceremony. So, like I said, Jordan sent a on the invite that it was kind of, no real formal dress code or anything, and you could do, whatever you want to do. You could do formal, you could do casual, you could do whatever. And he kind of explained because they were going to have like such interesting costumes and stuff like that. But yeah, that's me at the wedding. Jaw did carry the ring, yes. During the whole reception, or during the whole ceremony, Michael Carlson had Jaw in his hand, and I guess Jaw had the rings attached to his collar. Hello, John Workout. I'll admit I was all over the place in terms of what I was going to wear because at one point, I was going to, I didn't want to be the person that dressed down too much. And so, I was considering going out and buying an outfit or something like that. And then I was considering just going in short pants and a t-shirt. And Jordan sent a text message a couple of days before the wedding to everyone who was invited, basically clarifying the dress code thing and said, you know what, I'm going to wear the alien Hawaii shirt. And so that was what I did. I got an actual picture of that too. Let me show you that. I'm guessing there's going to be a lot of pictures showing today here. So bear with that here. Hang on, let me find it. There, there's a picture of the ceremony. Okay, let's pull this up here. Yeah, there's the ceremony right there. We weren't sure if the wedding was going to happen on this little platform here in front of the jacuzzi or up there. It turned out it happened up there behind the waterfall there, up where the pillars are. And yeah, it was a beautiful ceremony. So yeah, that was where it happened right there. And there was a lot of debate in the audience because this little thing here in the front is actually a waterfall, and you could actually slide down this thing. And everyone was asking at the end, was like at the end of the ceremony, are Jordan and Katie going to slide down the slide into the pool? In the end, they didn't. But yeah, it was a beautiful place. I didn't do it live last week because I was in Las Vegas. I'm so glad I went to. It was amazing because I mean, you'd think with someone of Jordan's stature, you'd think that there'd be a lot of people there, but it was really just a friends and family thing. So I was really honored to be invited. Yeah, I referred to it as technical difficulties because at that point, it hadn't really been announced that it happened. It was little bit after I made my technical difficulties announcement that Jordan started posting the first pictures and admitted that it happened. Yeah, yeah. I found out about this about 3 months ago, and Jordan said, "Yeah, keep this a secret. You can't tell anybody." Jordan recommended that we stay at a place nearby where the wedding ceremony was, called South Point Resort, and so that was where I stayed. It was a nice hotel. I didn't have much of a view though. No, I didn't really get a chance to talk to them. But there were so many people that I knew that were there. It was really fun because I'd met Jordan's father once or twice, but I'd never met his mom. His sister was there. I met her once many years ago, um, and some of Jordan's friends from the Comedy Store, and Michael Carlson and his wife were there, and John Wan was there with his wife. Let's see who else was there. Um, I guess a couple members of Kiss. How many people do you know that have a wedding that Kiss attends? Yeah, I did have wedding cake. No, there was probably only about 30 people there. It was a really small event. Friends and family, truly. And of course, we were invited about an hour before the ceremony to kind of wander around the house and look at the stuff that was there. There was all sorts of really fascinating things. Well, I think he decided early on he just wanted it to be a small thing. I don't know if I could give you any advice on that, John. Not enough details, I think. No, no new rocks. Like I said, I couldn't do that last week because I was traveling back and forth from. Wait, do I have new rocks? Hang on, I gotta look at my Facebook page here because maybe I do have some and just forgot. Because there's been so much has happened in the past couple of weeks. I do think I went and bought uh, a couple things here. Hang on, let me. Assuming I can get this to even work here. Hang on. Oh, there we go. Holy cow, it was just being really slow here for a minute. Because I think I went in a couple days before I left. Okay, I don't think you've seen those things. Hang on a second. Let me get a couple things here because I got a couple of new things. It's funny how easy I find it walking away from the camera now these days. I would never have done that early on, but yeah, well, oops, and I don't have everything I need here either, do I? Hang on. Because if I'm going to do this right, I got to have my UV lights. Okay, let's try this again here. Hey, Gene. Okay, so this is something I got, which is kind of pretty. It's basically just different kinds of quartz and amethyst, but I thought it was pretty, and it comes on a little stand. So, yeah, that's a nice piece, and it goes all the way through to the back, which is kind of fun. You can look all the way through it. I don't know if you can see me, but I can see me. So yeah, there's a hole going all the way through the middle of that one. So that's really kind of cool. Look at the sparkle in that. Love my geodes. And then I got this thing, uh, which I'm like I said, I'm not usually into the shaped pieces. I like rocks that are more natural in appearance, but I really kind of gotten into these spheres, and so I have a bunch of different kind of spheres. And what's really cool about this one is this one's of course UV reactive, so you hit it with the UV light, and it's really pretty. Look on the back side of that. It's almost too much for the camera here. It's washing out. So that's a really cool one. Now, does that one do anything under the shortwave? A little bit under the shortwave too. Not that much, but a little bit. Let's see if this part does anything. Yeah, a little bit. You got to hit it with a long wave light though to make that look good. And of course, it came with this little wooden stand, which was kind of cool. So you got to have your spheres on a stand, or they'll roll away. Unfortunately, it does look like a bocce ball. You're right. No, it's let's see. I had to ask Kara that. I think she told me what it was. Let me see here. Hold on. Oh, she sent some more stuff for me to look at. Yeah, I guess they call it a Gannerite or a green moonstone. It does sort of look, actually, it looks more like Pluto, I think, come to think of it. I did one vlog where I just kind of walked along the Las Vegas Strip. I was actually planning on having that come up yesterday, but um, I got up yesterday morning and we had a powerful rainstorm that came in. Uh, oh, well, it actually started about, Friday night. And I have the video uploaded, but I didn't actually set it up to be published. And when that rainstorm hit the other night, it knocked the power out. And so I got up in the morning and I couldn't make the video go live. So it'll go live on Tuesday. It was a few miles. It was on Las Vegas Boulevard, but it was a few miles out of town in a place called South Point Casino and Spa. It was right next to where the wedding took place, and also where the reception was. So it was perfect. Yeah, we got nearly 3 inches of rain in about 36 hours. In fact, if I took you out right now and showed you the pool is like, or it's filled up again almost, and the rain stopped, you know, 18, 20 hours ago, but there's still a lake in the middle of the pool slash planter. I wish I'd gone to Vegas a little bit earlier. I think because I showed up the day before and I left the day after, and I wish that I'd gone a day early because I actually about 2 days before the wedding, Jordan texted me and asked if I was, when I was arriving. I think he was probably having some sort of a dinner thing or something, for all the people who were there. I don't know. Jordan's never really commented on my rocks. I don't know. I don't go to Vegas that much where I know, what the tourism rate is. Some, you know, One of the things I noticed is the last time I was in Vegas was when I went with Jordan to celebrate, I think, Jaws' fifth birthday. And we walked, around the strip a lot, and they've completely screwed up the strip in terms of walking. There's a lot of places where, they have like footbridges where if you want to go across the street from here to here, you got to actually go this way, go this way, go this way to get over. And I don't know, they totally screwed it up. I think it's in the process of there's being some construction going on, but it's, it wasn't really that easy to get around there. But there were a lot of people. I mean, I got to admit, I was there on a Sunday morning. Yeah, that was the first time I met Katie. Well, we'll take you when we can get you, Tracy. Like I said, I don't really know. I haven't been to Vegas in a long time, so I'm not sure what the prices have been doing. And my buddy's good here. Well, I've actually kind of felt a little sorry for Bite because I've been gone so much in the past month, and this is really the first time he's really been home alone because he's always had his sister here. So it's you know he's an only cat now, and so he kind of depends on me. I'm his only companionship. And when I went to San Antonio, and then like a week later went to Vegas, it's like, and that might have actually been part of the reason also why I kind of kept the time there minimum, so I was away from him less because he was so sad when I left. Treat? Do you want a treat? We get a request for a treat. You like treats? Yes, you do. Have some Darth, because God knows I wouldn't be giving you treats if Darth hadn't asked. But oops. He just expects me to get to hand it to him. He doesn't want to reach his neck out here, so he keeps missing. Keep it just a quarter of an inch out of reach, enough so you can smell it and taste it, but can't quite grasp at it, can you? I know. Ow, dude, that was my finger. That's a finger. That's a treat. You know the difference between that, right? I noticed that too. That the one-armed bandits don't have arms anymore. I guess the people that are there are getting so lazy that they couldn't be forced to do this to do it. So now let's just press a button. I did actually look around and did find a few of the old style handle pull ones, but yeah, most of them are just button now. I wonder who totaled the house. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know about another bringing another cat in here. I don't know if I've got another cat life in me for because Bite's been with me for he's going on 19 years now. You know, I'm 61 years, 19 years. I'm gonna be 80. Yeah, I guess I am Bite's food dispenser, and if I don't get it, I get bit. No, there was no dancing at all because it was just it was the wedding at the house, and then we moved to the restaurant where we had dinner. No, I didn't. Well, I mean, the reception wasn't a typical reception because they just took out over one of the little rooms in a restaurant, and just had the food. So it wasn't really that kind of a reception. I'm already setting up for Halloween. In fact, I haven't turned the camera that way yet, but we got the fire running in the hallway there. Oh, except you can't see it because Bite's standing in front of it. But yeah, I got some stuff outside. Like I said, it got really wet when it rained, so we'll have to see how we work with that. The food was good. Yeah, very good food. It wasn't served. It was more they had like the trays out, and you went and served. It was buffet kind of style thing, but they had all sorts of good stuff. I guess they're on their honeymoon now. I'm leery about vlogging the outside of my house. There's certain parts of my life that I got to keep private, and where I live is one of them, definitely. Yeah, that was one thing Jordan said initially when he invited me is that he wasn't going to vlog it, and so I brought my camera and left it in the car, in case I needed it. But uh, everything I just shot on my cell phone. Yeah, I got to be careful with kids too because I have a little walkway that walks up to my door, and I usually kind of set up base on the porch, but I don't usually let people come up to the porch. What I'll do is I'll go down and greet them, at the street. But I've had a couple people that do an end to run around the props and start heading up the. No, we didn't really do any toasts. I got to admit. Yeah, yeah. You want to see some pictures of the that I shot inside the house of some of the some. Okay, let's go. Got to go back to the beginning here. Oops. Okay. Okay, is that the front? Me, right? Okay. Well, anyway, like I said, Carrie Fisher and is Debbie Reynolds' daughter. So there's a lot of Star Wars stuff. So I definitely wanted to being a Star Wars fan the way I am, I definitely wanted to see some of that. But yeah, that's I guess that's the original costume that she wore in Empire Strikes Back when she was in Yoda's or not Yoda in Jabba the Hutt's uh, indentured servitude. So that was kind of cool to see that. And some of the blasters from the movies. And look at that. Look at the scripts in the back. There's an original script for Empire Strikes Back. Oops. Hang on. Pushing the wrong buttons here. Star Wars. And I especially like this one, Revenge of the Jedi. Originally, the movie was called Revenge of the Jedi, not Return of the Jedi. But they changed it early on because they didn't think that revenge was a trait common among the Jedi. And so it's Return of the Jedi. So that was kind of cool to have something to see something like that. And let's see here. Just a life-size cardboard cutout of Carrie, signed by Carrie. So that was kind of cool. And a casting of Yoda. Apparently, they made a Yoda for like a brass Yoda for some park or something like that, and this was used in making the casting. So I thought that was kind of cool. And then this is kind of living room here, showing some of the movie posters that were on the wall. That was pretty cool. War of the Worlds, Day the Earth Stood Still. Look at those classics. Invisible Man, and then of course there's more Star Wars stuff, including a Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi poster. So yeah, that was a big thing there for a while. And I showed you that already. That's a picture of Debbie Reynolds and Carrie Fisher, hamming it up on a cow that they were riding on. I guess a ceramic cow. It looks like. This is really cool. This is a an old style vintage camera uh, that was used to shoot Charlie Chaplin's the Tramp, and so they got that in their collection. Look at that! How cool is that? And the Maltese Falcon. I don't know how many of you ever saw that. I watched it once. I saw it in a college class I was taking on film. So that's what an Emmy is. That what that is? There's an Oscar. I guess that's Debbie Reynolds for the unsinkable Molly Brown. I guess, huh? So that's really cool. And there's a Debbie Reynolds gold record of her song Tammy. Some vintage camera lenses. I'm sorry, it's a little out of focus, but were used in The Exorcist and a couple other movies. Sorry, I wish I had a better image of that. It was, but some vintage camera lenses. And that one was used in The Shining, and it includes even with a keyring from the Overlook Hotel, room 237. If you ever saw the movie, you know the significance of that. And that's, I guess, when she got her star. I guess that's at the yeah the Chinese theater. The So I guess she got handprints or something like that. So that's a little commemorative thing there. That was the door to the bathroom. I thought that was funny. It had Carrie Fisher and a Darth Vader on it. So I guess it's for both genders. And then of course those pictures. Oh, now Catherine Hickman, the person who was married to Eddie Fisher. I guess her claim to fame was that she was in the TV series Knight Rider, and she has one of the kit cars. And so that was really fun to see that. That was a kit car. It has all the electronics in the dashboard. It has a little scanner thing in the front. So it was really fun to see that. This isn't as good a picture. Let me see. Do I have a better one of that? No, not really. But all this stuff that you see on the dashboard, it's autographs of all the cast members from Knight Rider. And of course, they still had Carrie Fisher's last car in the garage. You see the license plate, C Fish. So yeah, she had a Tesla. So that was kind of cool to see that. And then that's just a picture Jordan sent to me. So yeah, there you go. She wasn't married to Eddie. Okay, what's her relationship to him then? I thought they were married. Yeah, yeah. Jordan has become good friends with them. Oh, Debbie Reynolds was married to Eddie. Okay, I guess that makes sense. Debbie Reynolds seems, Eddie seemed a little too old for Catherine. Oh, okay, yeah, you're right, Todd. Okay, that's okay. Yeah, you're right. I'm all confused on that. Yeah, okay, is that how that's work? Okay, yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember all the details. David Hasselhoff, huh? All right, there you go. I just tried putting all the pieces together based on the limited knowledge I had there. Yeah, it was fun listening to Catherine talk about that because she said she's pulled the show out and watched it and thinks it held up pretty well. It was a pretty good show. I remember we used to watch that all the time. That was something my dad and I liked to watch. Well, I didn't even get a chance to go upstairs, Gene, because that's where Jordan and Katie were kind of preparing for the wedding. But apparently, um, there's more than there's way more upstairs. Star Wars is worth a look. Knight Rider is too. Knight Rider is a good show. Yeah, they have an aviary on the property. I saw with pigeons and pheasants and all sorts of beautiful birds in there. I guess maybe they let them wander around on the property normally, but with the wedding and all that, and the front gate being open, they probably left them, um, in the aviary just to keep them safe. Yeah, Tracy, on that level, I'm by. I like both Trek and Star Wars. Although I think I'm more of a Trekkie than a Star Wars fan because the truth is there's three good Star Wars movies. The rest of them aren't really worth a look. On the other hand, there's five or six Star Trek series, a dozen or so movies, including the remakes and their reimagining and all that. Yeah, I don't know how often Jordan visits them. I don't think they know me well enough to invite me to their house. So Jordan invited me to their house, but that's more of a Jordan kind of vlog anyway. I think the cave without a name. They were both the caves that I went in were great, but I think that one. The cave without a name. It was so unassuming when you were on the level because it's just this kind of big empty property, and there's like a building, and then right next to the building there's this funky little staircase that goes into the ground, and that's the entrance to the cave. But that had to be one of the most amazing caves I've ever been in. And I mean, I've been in Carlsbad Caverns and all that. I love caves. That was a big part of going to San Antonio is I wanted to see the caves. And there's still more caves there that I want to see. So we'll have to go back some point. I didn't sign a waiver anywhere. They got some basic rules. A lot of those caves are alive and still forming, and so you're not allowed to touch some of the stuff in there. But I didn't sign any waivers. I've got some of the Halloween decorations up right now. Like I said, it rained in the last past 36 hours. So I've been kind of reluctant to put too much out. The stuff I do have out is stuff that is a little bit more weatherproof. Basically, I got one of those big giant spider webs that you hang from your house, and then it drapes down to the street or down to the ground, and I got a big nasty looking spider, uh, hanging on it. In fact, was that I didn't choose that one for the live stream, did I? Because I originally shot that with the plans of using it in the live stream. I don't remember though if I actually did or if I used the other picture. Hang on, let's see here. Yeah, I did use the spider. So yeah, if you look at the cover picture, that's the spider on the spider web. And to make it a little bit off-putting, I also put like the skeleton. I got a plastic skeleton. I put it on the ground underneath the web, a severed hand, and like a skeletonized chicken made out of plastic. So it looks like the spider ate it and then discarded the carcass on the ground. No, though the stalactites are pretty well secured to the ground or to the ceiling. It's just what happens if you get the grease from your fingers on the stalactite. It tends to inhibit the growth of the stalactite. I didn't see any bats or Batman in any of the caves. I've seen bats in the cave in other caves. In fact, if you look the first time I went to Interspace Caverns, if you look at that video, there was one scene where I actually got a frame with a bat in the scene. Yeah, they tend to do that in caves. They'll turn out the lights, let you see how dark it is, and they'll say to you, "Yeah, and you know what? Your eyes are never going to adjust because there's no light down here." Well, I mean, every cave has stalactites and stalagmites, and basically, that's what they are. The stalactite hangs in the ceiling, stalagmite is on the ground, and eventually they'll grow together and it becomes a column. Yeah, the river walk was really nice. I'd heard so much about it that I knew I had to check it out when I went there. And I went there, during the day, the first, just to check it out. And it's like, okay, yeah, this isn't that impressive during the day. But I saw all the lights they had up. And I said, yeah, this is going to look great. So I knew I had to go back, and it was fun. Didn't really see any water in either of these caves. I remember seeing water in the cave in New Mexico, the Carlsbad Caverns. And I guess there was a little bit of water in one of them, but it's been kind of a dry couple years in Texas, so a lot of the pools have dried out. Yeah, I don't know what they do about flooding. I'm guessing they probably have a way to control the amount of water that goes through that. No, no, I didn't. I wasn't going to sit on Pee Wee's bike. That didn't feel appropriate. It was fun just to see it. That's probably, it might be a little deeper than 3 foot, but they had, because they had like boats going around inside there. But yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. Basically, they probably, made a channel coming off of the river uh, and allow the water to go in and then channel it back to the river. I don't know. That's probably how it's done. Like I said, at night, I didn't really look into the water to see how deep it was, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was 3 or 4 feet deep. There's this place I've heard about in Mexico where there's an underground geode that's like, 150 feet in diameter that you can go inside of. That's absolutely amazing. But apparently, you don't want to go in there for long because it's like 140 degrees Fahrenheit in there. I'm sure if it was too deep, that would be a lawsuit issue. Yeah, I wouldn't. I'm not surprised at that at all. In fact, come to think of it, it might not actually have been a river. It might have just been something that they pump water into because I don't remember seeing any currents or anything in there. No, just the immediate area around the Alamo. You got to remember the first three videos I shot there were all shot on the first day I was there. The Alamo, the Ripley's Believe It or Not, and the Riverwalk were all shot on the same day. And I think that was part of the plan too, because originally when I started talking about thinking about going to Vegas to see the wedding, the thought was, okay, how am I going to mislead the viewers so that they don't know that that's what I'm doing? And first thought was I was going to do a road trip and just go out and like head north and see what happened. Do a couple of vlogs and then do a quick jet west and go to hit Vegas and all that. It turns out I got enough vlogs in the can from the San Antonio trip to completely cover that all up. So I just ended up flying into Vegas. Thanks for stopping in, Tracy. Honestly, I bet you there probably is good Mexican food in San Antonio. I didn't actually have any though. The hotel kind of served a breakfast thing, so I did that every morning, and then just kind of walked to local restaurants to find something to eat. There was a hotel right across the street from the Alamo called the Crockett Hotel, and they had a great restaurant in there. So I went there a couple times. No, no garter this time. I didn't see any of that. This was a very non-traditional kind of wedding. Damn right, I dodged a bullet. But I've always sort of been that way, when you're called out for the garter toss or whatever, I'm always the person that just stands there with my hands behind my back. I ain't going for that. Possibly, but I didn't see any mobsters. Yeah, they were fairly traditional. This was a fun wedding though, so and you think funerals would be fun too, especially considering the first three letters of funeral are fun. Yeah, I always thought that should be the slogan for some mortuary or something. We put the fun in funeral. I don't think they have any plan for kids. I mean, we've never talked about it, but I think they're just kind of I think they just kind of want to enjoy being with each other. I think that'd be a factor too, Lindex, is Jordan does so much traveling. In fact, a couple months ago, I asked him, how's he enjoying the house? He says, I'm not there much. I mean, I remember a girl that Jordan was dating a few years ago, back before Amy, that had a kid, and he was really good with a kid. I think he'd be a great dad. I don't think that that he's really into that idea. Like I said, I haven't really talked to him about it, but that's right. It's noon o'clock. In case you were wondering. And the cuckoo clock agrees. It's noon o'clock. got really quiet in here all of a sudden. That's something I've been thinking about doing is just heading out and just visiting small towns. So this was sort of that vlog was just sort of uh, a an attempt to test that out and see how that worked. But I had fun. I mean, granted, I'd probably go do hit some really small towns. These were kind of mid-sized towns. But I mean, some of the towns out there, have 100, 200, 300 people. Just be kind of interesting to stop in and see what they are. I'm not really a Vegas fan. I didn't do any gambling while I was there. Yeah, I thought that was really interesting with the musical instruments there. A lot of places to visit in Texas here. Big state. They say that when you're in the panhandle of Texas, the extreme west side of the panhandle of Texas, you're closer to Los Angeles than you are to the east side of Texas. Yeah, that's how big it is. Well, one of the things I actually noticed on when I flew into Vegas, there was actually a shop in the airport that I noticed was selling rocks and stuff like that. And I didn't get a chance to stop then, but I stopped on the way out and checked it out. It was some kind of fun stuff. There were a couple of nice things in there, but it was massively overpriced. I would love to see a new rock shop, but that was one of the things I ran into too was the parking. There isn't just really just good public parking there. Um, you end up in a rent a parking place like $25 a day to park. That's what I paid just to park at the when I did the vlog that you haven't seen yet. No, no, the work shutdown ended a couple weeks ago. And I went in and worked for 3 days there, and then was off for my Vegas trip. And then we had the short week this week, which was my first trip after, or my first week after Vegas. And then next week we're going into Halloween, so I'm off on Friday and Saturday. So yeah, I think this whole month I probably only worked like 6 or 7 days. It's crazy. But the thing is, I don't take vacations, so it's been kind of crazy because it was a maintenance interval, and then we were back for a couple of days, and I went to Vegas for a couple of days, and then this past week the other lead was out, so she was out on vacation. So yeah. Hey Susan, good to see you. I think the longer the shutdown continues, the worse it is for the Democrats because what we're doing is, I mean, it's not impacting very many people's lives. I mean, except for the fact that the website that I look at when I'm tracking hurricanes, I'm kind of a nerd that way. I like weather and stuff like that, so I look at the NOAA website for hurricane tracking, and except for the fact that there's a little banner at the top of the page that says, "Yeah, we're open during the shutdown," it hasn't affected me at all. And I think the longer we go, and the more people say, it's like, why are we, losing our mind over this? It isn't affecting anyone really. I mean, yeah, the Democrats are trying to make it painful by taking paychecks away from military personnel and all that. I mean, I remember when we had them during Obama. What would happen is they try and make them as painful as possible. So they shut down like the Vietnam War Memorial in Washington D.C. And rather than just shutting it down, no, they hire somebody to go put barricades out there so you couldn't go and look at it. They're just trying to make it painful, and it isn't. What do they say? 87% of the government is open. And it's only non-essential people that are not getting paid. And it's like, why are we paying non-essential people to begin with? Yeah, but it's not working this time, Yvonne. Oh, and our buddy is back. That's why you're back here too. It isn't for the head pats, is it? It's for the treats. You gonna bite my finger again, like you did last time? Oops, the lid fell off here. Got to keep the lid on here, or else end up making a mess here. I heard there's a reasonable chance of that happening, Suzanne. I don't know. We'll see. I haven't really been following that closely. All I care is that Texas stays red. Because if Texas falls, America falls. Yeah, yeah. Katie seems like a really nice person. No, I don't want digital ID. That's ruining Europe right now. One of the kitty treats. No, I don't think we're going to try that, Darth. I think the new ballroom is going to look really nice. You know what they're one of the points I was seeing is like, you know, whenever they have the big events on the property, they have to set up all those tents. And that looks ridiculous. They need to have a dedicated ballroom. I heard him say that they might call it the Monica Lewinsky Ballroom. That's funny. Yeah, I don't remember anyone losing their mind when Barack Obama installed a basketball court on the in the White House. It's just people don't like Trump, and so anything he does, it's wrong. I'm convinced that he could achieve world peace, and the Democrats would still hate him. No, I'm probably done with Silo for the year. Unfortunately, you know, with the job, the promotion I got a couple years ago, it's really hard to get there on time. Me getting there on time because it starts at 8. I get off at work at 7:30. It's about a 30-minute drive. So, you know, I had to get off exactly at 7:30 and blast my way to Temple, which is 30 minutes away, uh, to get there on time. And I can't guarantee it can get out at 7:30 anymore. I get out when the work's done. Yeah, Nixon had the bowling alley too. I mean, you know, if you look back at history, I think I heard that like half the presidents have done some sort of modification to the White House. Jokes on them, Darth. If Trump was a king, they wouldn't be able to have their protest. I do like the fact that I can go to Silo a couple times and and kind of get myself into the Halloween spirit. You know, Halloween. You know, it's one of my favorite Halloween holidays, and you know, I get into the Halloween spirit. That starts with Silo now every year. Don't really have any movies that I watch for Halloween. I go through a list of Christmas movies that I watch every year. I don't really have any you know movies. I might pick something out that's you know Halloween themed. You know, I like Nightmare on Elm Street, so I got a few of those. A couple classic horrors like Rosemary's Baby, Amityville Horror, Psycho. That sounds like fun. Yeah, I heard about that too, Susan. That a donor and then the donor asked to remain anonymous, and I guess somebody outed her. I've never seen the Omega Man. Yeah, I like the original fly. Help me, help me. Alien might be a good one. Actually, the first version of the fly I saw was the remake. A lot of people freaked out by that sound too. That's funny. Yeah, yeah. I think I got a copy of the Tingler. Jordan was way into Vincent Price, so he got me into that one. Yeah, I've never seen Hocus Pocus. I'm not really into the actors in that movie, and that's unfortunate. I've gotten to the point where I gotta, if I'm going to see a movie, I gotta like the actor and not just like their work, like them as a person, because some of them are just really, really pieces of crap. I like the book Thinner better than the movie. I don't think most of Stephen King's books successfully make the transition to the movie. Blair Witch Project was a big movie for about 2 weeks. It had its 15 minutes of fame and then kind of blended into oblivion. You don't hear about it much. I tried watching Walking Dead. I stuck with it for a season or two, but that was about it. Is that a horror movie, Darth? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I don't think I've watched Blair Witch Project in I don't know, probably since it was out. I don't even know if it's in my active stack anymore. It's probably in my. I got so many DVDs that I've got like a box of DVDs in the bedroom or things that I don't watch anymore. I don't think I ever saw Burnt Offerings. Yeah, there's some movies that turn out to be like really phenomenal at the time they do, but they don't hold up to subsequent viewings. Was there a Blair Witch Project too? I don't remember. They Live is a good movie. It isn't unwatchable. I think it's just unrewatchable. Because once you've seen it, you've seen it. There's other movies that I can watch multiple times and get something out of it. Yeah, I don't think I ever saw the others either. Like I said, I haven't been much on movies in a long time. I used to be a really serious movie watcher. I like The Sixth Sense. That's a great movie. The Omen was good. I remember that. Exorcist, that's a great one. I haven't seen The Birds in forever. That's a good movie too. I think malls are kind of on the decline right now. The 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 Richland Mall, which is the only real what I think of as a traditional mall. Uh, you know, it's for the most part there's stores in in every one of the almost every one of the opportunity every one of the stores there has a business in it for the most part. There's a few empty ones, and I know one of the anchor stores just opened or just club went out of business, so they got one of the anchor stores that's just empty right now. I like the car was great. Yeah, that mall in Temple, that's sad. Yeah, wasn't Anne Heche in the remake of Psycho? Yeah, I didn't even see that one. No, I didn't hear about the Lake Waco murders in the 80s. Yeah, I guess that's something that hasn't popped up on my Waco history timeline. A lot of things I do, I find out from that on Facebook. Cujo, another case where the book was better than the movie. Well, back when you could buy DVDs in record stores and stuff like that, I used to get them there. I get them mostly online now, Amazon usually. I don't know. I don't know if they would bury it. I mean, you know, they that remember that story I did about the lynching at Jesse Washington. You know, that was definitely a bad case too. Rush to judgment, but and they definitely didn't bury that. It's probably just one of those things that nobody talks about. Nightmare Before Christmas is good, but I got to be in the mood for that. I mean, I think it's the music that I like from that. I love Danny Elfman singing. He's got such a great voice. I remember that back from when I used to see him play as Oingo Boingo. I don't know. I haven't set down a time for Yellowstone. I probably would want to go in the spring though. That's going to be one of those things I'm going to have to plan probably a year in advance to get reservations and all that. We'll do it at some point because I definitely want to go. You know, I want to start doing national parks, and it's got to start with Yellowstone, just because the geology nerd in me, would really kind of digs what's going on. I went there once as a kid and didn't know enough about it to understand why the place was so amazing. Now I do, and it'll be fun talking about that because you know me when it comes to talking about geology. But if it does erupt, Suzanne, everybody's going to know it. That's going to be one of those earth-changing events if that happens. Oh yeah, I'm not stupid enough to get next to the hot springs. What I do want to do is bring one of those thermal imager things that will tell the temperature of the water, so I can include that in the story. Yeah, absolutely. Anybody gets hurt at Yellowstone, except for the one case where that feature, whatever it was, exploded. You know where you're supposed to be and where you're not supposed to be. And even when I was there, 40 years ago, there was like a boardwalk that you walked around, and you stayed on that. And you just didn't get off the boardwalk. That's a big part of it, Yvonne. And that's probably going to happen more and more now as people, have gotten to the point where, well, rules don't apply to me. I can do whatever I want. I got freedom of speech. I can say whatever I want. Yeah, that's just stupid, Lindex. Yeah, let's go look at that moose. I know they say those things can kill you, but that one looks friendly. And Bullwinkle was always nice. Yeah, and then they want to sue, exactly. And can be pretty angry too sometimes, Gene. I don't know if I necessarily have any slow cooker meals just because I don't have a slow cooker, but yeah, it's cooled off a little bit. In fact, we're supposed to be have a significant temperature drop by midweek. It's going to be like in the 60s at the top, but we're like supposed to be like upper 70s, upper 70s today, low 80s tomorrow, and then like I said, it's going to be dip into the 60s and going to be 40s at night. So I might have the potbelly stove out on Halloween just to keep warm. Yeah, no, I've never used my instant pot as a slow cooker. Yeah, maybe might do another vlog. I like the Jason's chili. That was delicious. That was one of my favorite recipes. It's funny. I had to make a recipe book of escaping the mouse's favorite recipes. Although, would anyone buy a recipe book published by somebody called Escaping the Mouse? Probably not. Well, I mean, right now I'm working on the planner in the backyard. Although I got to admit, I'm not going to be working on the planner anytime in the next few days. Actually, I'll show you why. We're going to go on a little road trip here. Unplug here so we can go mobile here. Ah, let's pick it up and go mobile. Yeah, that's right. We are outside. So I told you earlier in the live stream that we had some rain. Well, look at all the water in that, and that's after like it's been like 20 hours since the rain stopped. But yeah, it's just a flood back here. This thing is reverting to a pool. So yeah, Look at all that water. And I finally got all the dirt moved to the other side, so I'm starting to build up the sprinkler heads on this side because now I got to start going around and doing the bricks all the way around and getting that all connected and figuring out how that's all going to work. So yeah, there's your update on the planner. That's as it exists right now. Don't think I'm going to be doing a whole lot this week though. It's just going to be a little too muddy, I think. But anyway, let's go back inside. Yeah, don't get to walk around with me in the house that much, do you? All right, let's replug up here. Let's see, we have a full battery. I'm not going to reach for the cord. We'll just go on battery for the rest of the live stream here. I think that'll work. Yeah, I'll probably work on it a lot during the winter. It'll actually be nicer to be out there. I said I'm not going to be doing anything out there this week though. Yeah, the project is going to be it's going to be a long project to finish, but it's just one of those things that I work on a little bit at a time and just keep making progress on it. Like I said, I've moved all the dirt from the back to the front now, so now I can start putting the bricks on the black in the back. And once I'm done there, then the rest of it will be kind of easier. I'm going to have to route the electricity. I'm going to have to route the plumbing. That'll take some time. I got to get the railroad ties in here, which are going to be the borders between the planters and the walkway. I think what will end up happening eventually is when we get all the soil in there, it'll all just soak into the ground. And you got to remember, a few inches under the ground, there's a thick layer of limestone, so there's not going to be a lot of settling. I'm sure I'll probably have to, top off the soil for the first couple of years, like I've had to do everywhere else. It starts settling over time, and yeah, cabinets are on hold for now. I don't know. We'll do something at some point. Like I said, I run into a setback like that, and it just kind of I lose my enthusiasm for it. I do want to do something though. They get uglier and uglier every day, I think. Welcome back, Gene. I love the caves too. I mean, that was one of the reasons I chose San Antonio. I wanted to see the Alamo, of course, and when I heard the Pee Wee Herman's bike was going to be there, it's like, okay, well, I got to see that too. But yeah, it was the caves that were the real reason I wanted to go there because there's a whole bunch of caves around San Antonio. I didn't even hit all of them, so I guess that means I got to go back some point. Oops, kitty treat jar fell over and lid popped open. There's kitty treats all over the sofa here. That's no good. I don't know if the caves had anything to do with me going under the house. That was me being a nerd. Yeah, definitely. If I'm going to go to San Antonio, I'm definitely not going to go down the interstate. That was a boring, boring, and frustrating drive with all the traffic and all the construction. I'll tell you, the drive on the way home, where I just took kind of back roads and stuff like that. I probably spent the same amount of time on the road. It's it you know it just it wasn't all the traffic and all that. I don't think I'd want to chip through all the limestone. That would be the problem with that. The only bridge I know on Lake Waco is I-6, which goes across the lake. Been on that a bunch of times. That would be a fun way to that'd be a fun thing to do. I'd love to have an underground tunnel. I keep thinking all the time they keep talking about how people just accidentally discover these caves. The inner space caverns, for instance, they were building Interstate 5 or Interstate 35 at the time, and there was a railroad track that went perpendicular to the proposed route. And so they were going to do a bridge to go over the railroad track, and they had to do some core drilling to find out if the ground was stable enough to support the weight of the overpass. And it turns out when they drilled into it, they found they hit the cave. The drill bit just fell off and fell into the cave. And I keep thinking, it's like, they find this all the time, but you got to wonder, are there any out there? There's got to be ones out there that nobody knows about. How much of a blast would it be if there's some massive cave system under my house? I do sort of have waterfront property today. I know it's crazy out there, but that's what 3 inches of rain will do you. We had 3 inches of rain in roughly 36 hours. Two storms. One a couple nights ago that it basically rained all night, and then one again yesterday afternoon that probably dropped an inch and a half of rain in probably an hour. That's probably how it would work too, Yvonne. I don't know. I mean, think about it. What would happen to my vlog and the views if all of a sudden I died in some um, bizarre way? Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah. All of a sudden, everybody watching my vlogs. Give Jordan a run for his money. That would be cool to make a haunted cave. That's a good idea. Yeah, I don't think I could count on Bite to protect me for something like that. I don't know. He's more likely to just sit there and watch. Yeah, backwater, right. Only problem is my lake is going to dry up in the next 24 to 36 hours. It'll just be muddy there tomorrow. But hopefully we're going into a couple weeks now where there's not going to be any rain. Yeah, but Bite's not that kind of cat. Is there actually a movie called The Suicide Virgins? Yeah, a lot of acorns coming out of the trees this year. Actually, acorns are the reason the pool's gone, because it was 2 years ago that the tree was dropping like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acorns into the pool. And it got to the point where I had to make a choice. It was the tree or the pool, and I enjoyed the tree more. The virgin suicide, huh? Hmm. Yeah, yeah. Halloween is going to start going up a little bit. I usually don't do a whole lot Halloween wise until day of. That's why I take the day of and day after off of work, so I can set up on the day of and tear down the day after. Although the truth is, most of this stuff comes down the night of Halloween, because the way I've got it set up now, it's all on ropes and pulleys. So all I got to do is get the hooks up there, hooked to the trees. Because I think I did a vlog on that last year where I was try and get it to the point where I didn't have to go up the ladder as much to get the stuff up there. And so I came up with this kind of elaborate pulley system where I got a hook placed on the tree. All I got to do is get a ring over the hook, and then I can just pull everything up and not have to go up in the tree. That going up on the tree on the ladder is scary. Yeah, I got people that come back to my house every year. That happened in California too, where I'd have people drive in from miles around to just to come visit my display. And I think my display is getting better now. My house in California. was technically considered a condominium. And while it was a detached condominium, uh, most everything I had that was well, everything that was mine was in the backyard. I didn't have a front yard per se, and what was there was taken care of by the HOA. I love the fact that I got a big, massive front yard now, and I love the trees because the trees are great for props, and it just allows me to expand way more. I did a couple years ago when it was really cold one year. I didn't do. I had it last year, but we didn't give any out because it was actually a warm year. It's actually going to be kind of cool again this year, so I'm thinking I may have the potbelly stove out. To kind of keep things warm and also maybe distribute adult beverages as needed. Yeah, I never had any problem with Halloween decorations from the HOA, and I did put some stuff in the front yard. Never really had a problem with it. In fact, the HOA I was in was rather benign. They didn't really pester you that much. I think the only thing they did that annoyed me is there was one time I used to, well, I mean, even now in my house in here in Texas, I just put a big piece of cardboard on the ground in the garage in case the car is dripping oil, so I'm not dripping oil onto the floor of the garage. And one time in California, I took the cardboard off the ground, kind of moved it out, and set it on the driveway for a couple hours while I was working there. Well, a few days later, I got a note from the HOA. You got cardboard on your front yard, on your front driveway. You can't have that. That's got to go, dude. That was gone 3 days ago. It was only up for a couple hours. Get over it. No, no full size candy, but I got a lot of it, and I give away a lot of candy. So like I said, I even got a little bit of Halloween stuff going on here. I got the little firelight there in the hallway. It's funny when Bike comes down the hall, as he gets closer and closer to the light, he casts a bigger and bigger shadow on the wall behind him, which is kind of funny. People in general are just nicer here in Texas. I mean, everybody thinks, "Oh, Texas, that's the South." It's rampant with racism. No, it isn't. Racism is less here in Texas than it is in California. I have so many more black friends now than I ever did in California because the groups they just didn't merge. I think what happens in California is the whites are in the white neighborhoods, the blacks are in the black neighborhoods, the Hispanics are in the Hispanic neighborhoods, the Asians are in the Asian neighborhoods, and very rarely do they interact with each other. I think it's hard to believe the stereotypes about the other when the other lives next door to you. You know, my neighbor across the street and one house down is a black family, nicest people in the world. But when you have all the different communities and different areas not living together, and then politicians trying to whip up racial tensions, it doesn't help. Yeah, looking forward to Halloween. It's going to be good. Always have fun with Halloween. Yeah, the media doesn't help either, but the media are largely irrelevant here in Texas because nobody watches them. Yeah, well, that wasn't the HOA though, Susan. That was a neighbor that got crazy, that just went crazy. Called the police and the fire department because I had a tiki torch with about a 4 inch tall flame 3 feet from her house. She was convinced it was going to light her house on fire. And just like I do now with in Texas, I don't stay in the house for Halloween. I was in the backyard then, and I saw the cop roll up, and I saw him get out of his car, and I saw him look at the tiki torch, and then just shook his head. And it's like, okay, well, whatever this is, he's on my side. Yeah, I like kind of whimsical tombstones like that, but not for my Halloween decorations. My Halloween stuff, I'm going for scary. I don't want people laughing. I don't want people saying, "Ugh, I'm getting away from this place." I have thought about building bat houses for the trees in the front and backyard, and that would be really really cool to have uh, bats, real bats flying around at my Halloween decorations. But I don't know. I love the closing scene of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, that would be a problem if we were. I try and avoid the hornets' nests. Meow. All right, he's back. Well, I'd like to just have the bat house here, to kind of naturally deal with the insect issue. If I could get bats and a colony of 30 or 40 bats that would just kind of go around chomping on insects, that would be great. I remember that prison place across from the Huntsville prison that had the bats that had taken over. I still kind of follow that a little bit. They're still trying to figure out what to do with those bats. Oh, the bats have such cute little faces, though. Look like a little puppy dog. I've always thought it'd be fun to have a pet bat because they apparently make great pets. Bat girl was cute. It's funny too. Down by the Brazos River, there's a wild vultures that kind of hang out. In fact, I remember a couple months ago, I went to the zoo where they were trying to scare the bats away from the zoo, and I always thought it'd be fun to have some vultures hanging out of my house. How cool would that be on Halloween? Big giant black vultures hanging out. Not into the vultures. Yeah, I think we're kind of wrapping up this one too. We've hit our 2 hour mark now. So I don't know. Anyone else got something they want to say before we end this one for the week? See you, Yvonne. Yeah, well, that's the reason I would do that, Gene, is just a small colony of 40 or 50 individuals would be enough to take care of all that, or at least take care of a lot of it. You can do it without chemicals. And yeah, there's going to be a Vegas vlog coming out on Tuesday, so keep an eye on that. Okay, I'm going to pull the plug on this one. We'll catch up and resume this next week. Thanks everyone for stopping in. I had a good time today, a lot of fun. Congratulations to Jordan and Katie, and we'll go from there. Have a good night, everyone. See ya.